Hi everyone, I'm Ng Di from Home Educator Specialist. In this video, I will be going through notable GCE O-level elementary math questions with you. You may click on the link at our description box below to download the question and answer sheet. So let's take a look at some questions. So for the first question that I'll be going through, it comes from the 2015 paper 2, question 6. This type of question comes up quite often, where we have to connect different equations together and solve in order to find the time taken or the distance traveled, etc., etc. So let's read together. So Wei drives at an average speed of x km per hour for 2 hours 40 minutes, and then at an average speed of y km per hour for 1 hour 20 minutes. And the total distance he traveled is 240 km. So part A, they are asking us to write down an equation in x and y to represent this information and show that it simplifies to 2x plus y. So we want to connect the speed times time and distance together. Okay, so here we have two separate trips. The first trip is x km per hour for 2 hours 40 minutes, and then the second trip is y km per hour for 1 hour 20 minutes. So for this, we have to add up these two together to find the total distance. Okay, so how do we approach this question? So we know that the total distance is 240 km. Okay, so we know that speed times time is also distance. So we take x km per hour and multiply by the time. So the time taken is 2 hours and 40 minutes. So in this case, what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to convert it into hours because the speed is in terms of hours. So I need to add with y km per hour multiply by 1 hour and 20 minutes. Okay, this gives me 240. So how to simplify? So after multiplication, after converting the fractions, we will eventually have 8x over 3 plus 4y over 3 equals to 240. Okay, so this is what I do to simplify. So sometimes when we see algebra questions, we see a lot of fractions. We have a lot of denominators. So for me, personally, I don't really like to see fractions. So I want to remove the denominators. In order to remove the denominators, in this case, since they have the same denominator, I will remove it by multiplying the denominator away. So I will have 8x plus 4y equals to 720. So this is almost there. We are reaching there. What is the equation that we want to equate into? We want to simplify into 2x plus y equals to 180. So we can just divide by 4 throughout. So we have 2x plus y equals to 180. So this is what happened. So we have simplified. Okay, so this is for part A. So for part B, there's another part here. So Hawk drives at an average speed of x km per hour for 1 hour 30 minutes, and then at an average speed of y km per hour for 2 hours 30 minutes. He drives 10.5 km further than Wei. So now I want to write down an equation in x and y to represent this information. So similarly, what I'm trying to do is to form an equation based on the information of Hawk's driving. Okay, so the steps of solving this is the same. So we have to understand that the total distance for Hawk's is 240. We need to add the additional 10.5 km here. Okay, so this is the total distance, and his total distance is 250.5 km. Okay, so what we know is he travels at x km per hour for 1 hour and 30 minutes. So same thing we have to convert, plus y km per hour times 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, this equates to 250.5. So similarly, we simplify, we will get 3x over 2 plus 5y over 2 equals to 250.5. So like I said just now, I don't really like to see fractions. So I want to remove the denominator. In order to remove the denominator, I multiply the whole thing times 2. So I have 3x plus 5y equals to 501. So I've solved for B. I've managed to find an equation. Okay. So now I want to solve for part C. Solve these two equations to find the value of x and y. So this is just a simultaneous equation. So let's do it here. So our first equation that we have is 2x plus y equals to 180. Let this equation be 1. Then we have 3x plus 5y equals to 501. Let this equation be 2. We'll use equation 1 to rearrange because it's simple y here. So we have y equals to 180 minus 2x. This is my third equation. Okay, so what I would like to do is I will sub, because this is a substitution method, so we sub equation 3 into equation 2. Remember, we cannot sub back the equation 3 into the equation where it's from. Okay, you have to sub it into the other equation. So therefore, I have 3x plus 5 multiplied by 180 minus 2x. This gives me 501. Okay, so from here, I continue to solve. I expand. So what I will have is 900 minus 10x to negative 399. And once we divide both sides, we will have x equals to 57. So that's not all. Okay, so we have solved for x only. The next one, we have to solve for y. So we have a very nice equation that equates to y. So we just sub x equals to 57 into equation 3. So we have y equals to 180 minus 2 times 57, which gives me 66. Okay, so we have solved that x equals to 57 and y equals to 66. So it will be good if you write a conclusion statement here. Okay, it will be easier for the marker as well. So for algebra, you have to check whether your answer is correct. Okay, remember, for algebra questions, it can get full marks. We can get full marks from algebra. So we need to know how to get full marks. We have to know how to check. Checking is very important. So in this case, we have found out that x equals to 57. So what I do for checking, I just sub x 57 into maybe equation 1, so 2 times 57. Then I add with the y, 66. Then what is the answer? Is it equals to 180? If so, then your answer is more or less correct. Of course, we have to sub it into the next equation as well. Is the equation equals to 501? If it's so, then it's correct. Okay, so let's say if your answer comes out to be x equals to 68, y equals to 57, etc., etc., means definitely wrong. So when you check, you'll realize that it doesn't fulfill your statement. So when your x and y doesn't fulfill the simultaneous equations or any form of algebra, it means that your answer is definitely wrong. You have to immediately go and change your answers and redo, or either find where is your mistake. Okay, so for all forms of algebraic questions, you can check, meaning whatever x or y that you solved, please sub it back into the original question and identify whether it fulfills the question or not. Okay, I will explain this a bit more later on when we see algebraic questions. Okay, so we have solved that x and y is these values. So for the last part, D, we want to calculate how much longer it would take Wei to drive 240 km at a slower speed than it would at a faster speed. So we have two speeds that is given, right? So the first speed was x equals to 57, y equals to 66. Okay, so we want to calculate how much longer if Wei drives at a slower speed for the full 240 km compared to full 240 km with the faster speed. So what we want to do is I want to take the time taken. So time taken based on the formula is we take the distance divided by the speed. So for the slower 240 km, I divide by the slower speed, which is 57 km per hour. This gives me 4 over 19 hours. Okay, what about the time taken for the faster speed, which is 240 km? I divide by 66 km per hour. This gives me 3 hours 7 over 11. Okay, so therefore, what are they asking us? They're asking us how much longer, meaning I want to calculate the difference. So I just take the difference between the two duration. So the difference will just be 4 over 19 hours. I subtract with 3 7 over 11 hours, giving me 120 over 209 hours. So they want it to give in minutes and seconds, correct to the nearest second. So this is the part where many students, they get confused. How do I convert? Okay, so just remember 1 hour equals to 60 minutes. Okay, so let's say if I want to have 2 hours, it will be 60 minutes times 2. Meaning if I want to convert from hours to minutes, what do I need to do? I have to multiply by 60. So which is also equals to times 60. Okay, so we have 34 minutes and 27 seconds. Okay, so this is how we have to convert. So that's all for this question. So I hope you understand. So we have come to the end. So thank you for joining us today. So do subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.